All right, team, there's a lot of really cool projects going on tonight. So I just wanted to hop on, make a quick video and talk through some of the ideas that I had, some of the thoughts I had, some of the questions I had for you all. I just want to start quickly with a couple of these that I know that I went over yesterday with some written critique, but I wanted to reiterate some stuff. Again, with this dragon, it's a really cool model. You've got a great setup going. Just some simple things. Again, just let's get a moon going up here, shining down, just like a little bit of a brighter light source that we're feeling coming into the scene there. And then the one thing about dragons is that you really want to feel the scales, right? It's all about the scales, all about like this leathery skin, and it's scary and it's snake-like and it's intimidating and it's kind of evil. So you really want to get glancing light coming down the side here, just like light sources just kind of screaming through it to really pick up the shininess and also the bump or displacement, however you're doing that. A couple other things, and I don't know if this came through in my writing, so I wanted to say this eye is in a little bit of a weird spot. Like when I first looked at this, I was like, oh, okay, cool. And I was expecting the eye to be over here, but and I guess anatomically it makes sense that it's over there, but we just really want to read it. Like we really want to be able to say, like, make this like kind of a bright orange or something glowy and really kind of standing out. Love this red bounce light that you're getting on there. I remember in Ice Age 3, we had this white dinosaur, and we always, for no reason at all, we'd always like throw red bounce light on it to kind of give it a feeling of blood or scariness or just evilness. And so I really liked to have this kind of red bounce. It'd be kind of cool to get a little bit more of the red up, just coming up there in the background a little bit. But overall, really good stuff. Just watch out for this, because like I said, again, I couldn't tell if this was the body like wrapping around back here or if this was some sort of wing. It just gets some more definition, gets some more variation back there. But overall, this is a really cool project, and I think you're coming together really well. Nicholas, we've got your frog is looking a lot better. I know that the specularity felt a little high, but I think that you're going in the right spot. You've got some really nice sky reflections happening up there. I think you could even push the subsurface scattering a little bit through the feet there, but I think this is already coming a long way. I think you're on the right path. I think you know where to go. Just really cute scene. My question is also like, and I wasn't seeing much of it in reference, but like whether or not we want to throw some like environment reflections in the windows here, like just to imply something off space, maybe just some large like gross shapes in the window, but overall, not a major concern, but I would just get a little bit of more warmth in these feet. But overall, this is looking, I mean, even in just a day, just a major improvement. Okay, some new stuff. First, I want to hop into this one. It's a cool power of lighting challenge you were able to create. I think overall, you really nailed the look. You hit all of the major cues, like this brighter element in the foreground, this kind of fall off, the shadow shape. This, even though I know you hate the Facebook compression, I grabbed the other one for you. Like that fall off, like right in this vignetting style is perfect. I think you did a really good job there. Here's something that I thought was funny when I was looking at the reference. Like looking at this shadow shape doesn't make any sense to me because the light source is coming in from over here, right? Like it's illuminating this part of her face. So why in the world would the shadow be going that way? I mean, I can tell you it's because this was shot in a studio and they're doing some light trickeration here. But I really think that the shadow would kind of go back this way a little bit. Now, the cool thing is that yours, you did the exact same thing you did in the reference, and that's great. Like that's one way to read reference, and I think that's really cool. I'm wondering how you did that because I'm guessing that maybe I'm just wrong, but like that shadow does not seem like it's casting from this light. So unless the wall's at a weird angle, but that doesn't make sense. But getting back to your image, you did a really, really good job of a few things. One, getting the shaping across here. Like these subtle shapes in the fingers are really, really difficult to generate, and I think you really did a really nice job of that. That is not simple in there. That is good work. The one area that you want to watch out for is like this looks a little bit blown out, and you definitely want the brightest part to be in here. Even though this is closer to the light source, you still want to draw the viewer's eye back into this region. So just something to be aware of. There would be more challenges to this if there were the shaders on it, things like getting some surface scattering in there, just getting the reflection of this to read in here. And then additionally, because this was a power of light challenge, I won't push this, but you'll definitely at some point want to make that glow. Like these, the hard edges here versus what we're seeing here, which is a much brighter, glowier element. Also warmth that I meant to mention. Like this one, it feels a little neutral in tone. Like the light that's casting off it is warm, but it in itself is a neutral color. So I would just expect a little bit more warmth out of that. But overall, I mean, like you hit all of the elements, and you're definitely ready to move on to the next step. This is a really, really strong first challenge, and I can't tell you how many times I've heard people say it's more difficult than they thought, and it's true because it definitely is difficult. Okay, Gloria. All right, lots of cool stuff. Well, first off, we've got this guy. I think I have both of them in here. Yeah, got the nighttime version and nighttime man and daytime man. The one thing that I really like about the way that you're doing this is, and this is something that I look for here, is just the cohesiveness of all of the elements going together. Like you obviously were working with them one by one, but it's so important to bring them all together into one element to kind of really start to feel how they're playing together. The only thing that I see overall that I would look into or consider would just be desaturating some of these fruits and vegetables and stuff here, just because like the browns are pretty neutral. Like everything on him is not neutral, but a little bit less saturated. Like looking at this, what's going on in the environment here versus here, it's feeling a little bit like you wouldn't expect them to get brighter when they're plucked. So you'd almost expect these to be brighter than this. But I love the color palette down here. It fades into everything. It's just that these feel a little bit saturated. Now, whether or not those are a story point and you want to make them a little bit saturated, then that's all for you. But I think that if it was me, I would just kind of tone that down a little bit. In terms of the night one, this is a really, really cool test. I would, I was zooming in here just to make sure that he was getting some of like this color in his eyes, and it looks like he is. And that's cool. If like these dots are floating around, this might just be like a visualization test, but I would expect more influence from them kind of higher up on here. I mean, I can see like it's showing up on his legs, but I would expect there to be a little bit more from the influence on that. But this, what you're actually creating here is a little bit of a difficult lighting scenario because you probably noticed this, but you've got a lot of cool light coming in from the environment. You've got like this purple light coming in from here, and you've got green light coming in from there. Now the magenta light, the purpley light, and this light and this light combining equals gray basically. So you're gonna have like a tough time at times like balancing these two. So maybe you're right to kind of leave it isolated down here and then leave the magenta up here to kind of keep them segmented from one another. But just something to be aware of though. But overall, I think things are looking really, really well. I think maybe, let me look at the other version here. I'm wondering if we can get a little more contrast in the hat. Just a little bit more of dark values in there. It feels a little bit flat. Additionally, when you're in here, I love this light up here kind of being inside this compartment of stuff. I'm wondering, and you can totally not do this if you want, if it would be cool to get light glowing out of here too. Just like a little bit pushing through, and maybe just like a little bit popping out of this bag. Just a little bit, just a thought, because I really like some of the elements that it's getting. Beard is looking really cool. His skin's looking really nice. For a while, I thought this was floating. Like I thought his foot was supposed to be on the ground. I didn't realize he was taking such a broad step. So you may need to run just some ambient occlusion for a couple things. One, to get that foot to ground, and then just like some of these connection points are a little bit lifted there. But overall, I think this is looking really good. Now I want to jump into your other challenge. the other thing that you did. Overall, the structure of these three, love that you are doing, love that you're taking this approach, right? Love that you're, this is such a strong thing to have on a demo reel, is all three of these shots using the same environment, the same scene, but with different reference, creating different looks. One of the things that I hesitated on, and it took me a little while to set up for this critique because I was going back and forth, and so I'm just going to say both things with these projects. One is that you yourself as a human being have a really nice style. Like you see it in both these versions here. It's not super contrasty. It's a little bit like soft. It's just like a soft style. And that translates into all three of these, right? Like there's a softness to it. There's not like a huge amount of contrast in this region. It's pretty soft. Versus like your reference, here where there's like a lot of brightness coming in here versus your bright value over here. Now, where my struggle came in was like, do I suggest that you push against your own style a little bit, or do you just like ride your style till the end? And what I think is that in one of these three, I think you should push a little bit further, and I think it actually should be this one. Because looking at the reference, there is a lot of really cool things that can happen with like these dark values in the foreground. Again, this is the shadow in the foreground. This is the shadow in the deep background. And you can see those values are very, very different. And I think that you have a similar opportunity here to create some darker shadows and darker shapes here, over here, maybe a little bit in this building here, and then allow them to lift back here. So this would be like section, these would be like darkness value, and one being the darkest. So one's in here and under here and around here. This would be in like a value range of 2, and then these would be in the 3, and then maybe that one back there would be 4. You do have those elements a little bit, but I really think that we could push those more. But overall, also, I'm guessing that's your birthday and your initials there. Very, I think it's great. We do that kind of stuff all the time, so I think that's really nice. Overall, I think that these scenes are working really well. Let me go through them one at a time. I'll start with this guy here. So I do think that you can take a cue from this reference a little bit and really, I think you can push this harder because like this area down here just feels kind of murky, and I think that you can really create some brightness coming in back here. I think that you can clear off a little bit of the reflection off of this windshield. I think that you can get some more action happening back here in this wall. Like this area is looking a little bit flat. I think you can get some more vertical variation. Love this shadow creeping across here. That's really nice. Love some of the contact shadows of this. I'm just wondering if you can get some more soot and just kind of junk happening down here in this part of the building, and that fades off as you go up because that's something that kind of naturally happens. Additionally, if you can kind of break up this line here on the buildings, either with like a trash can or with something, just because that feels a little bit too clean. Also, this brick feels a little bit too on the clean side. Your signage. Let's go to one of the other ones here. By the way, if there's ever a shot that, like this shot fits into your personality and your style really, really, really well, and I think that you can continue to work with that. So in this reference, I do like that you see some of that. I think maybe you can push those values inside these windows a little bit stronger. And then in terms of your signage, there kind of seems to be a haze that's over some of these, like this one, especially this one. And what you're seeing in the reference, which is kind of cool, is a more of like a brighter core, and then just like a slight haze. So I think that your core value, because like there's like variation in it, right? There's there's some variation in like where this is kind of just like universally red throughout with just like a halo around it. I think inside here you can go like, oh, my pen's too thick, but at the very inner part of it, you can go almost white and then allow that to roll off a little bit. The street lamp looks good. Nice reflections on those. But overall, I don't... I like this one the way it is. Again, I think the windshield's a little bit too dusty. I think we get more vertical variation on there. You've got darkness in here, so you don't have to worry about that on that one. Yeah, other than that, it would just be a matter of getting a little bit more detail in some of the city areas, if you can. But overall, I think that one's looking pretty good. And then this one, it would be cool to get more of these reflections into the windshield on that one. The reflection, again, looks a little bit hazy. It would be more of a crystal clear reflection. But again, with this one, I would just create a little more contrast. But yeah, man, you're killing it. I think you're doing a really great job. So that's everything for right now. You all are doing really, really well. I think that your projects are coming together really nicely. If you have any additional questions for me or anything that you'd like me to follow up on, definitely let me know. And we'll keep going from there. But in the meantime, keep going, keep lighting, and I can't wait to see what you all are going to do next. All right, happy lighting.